What if the universe occasionally whispers to us in the form of visitors? Not human visitors, not even visitors born of our own star, but wanderers from the deep galactic ocean. Quiet, unassuming, yet bearing with them mysteries so vast they make us question what we know about existence itself. Tonight we set sail into the darkness with one such visitor, the enigmatic Three-Eye Atlas. The first glimpse. It began, as such things often do, with the faintest flicker of light, a subtle trace across the skies noticed not by the naked eye but by instruments built to extend our senses into the far reaches of night. Astronomers peering through digital windows into the cosmos picked up something moving, something faint, something different. They called it Three-Eye Atlas, the third known interstellar object to enter our solar system, detected by the Atlas Survey Telescope in 2020. Its name sounds ordinary, like a catalogue entry, yet its story is anything but. Atlas was not born of our sun. It is not a familiar child of our solar system's planetary nursery. Instead, it came from the outside, from another star, another region of the Milky Way. Think about that for a moment. Every planet, every moon, every comet you've ever heard of is bound to our sun, locked in its gravitational family. And yet, once in a great while, a traveller drifts in from far beyond, carrying secrets of alien worlds we may never see. Atlas was one of those. But unlike a comet, its presence whispered of deeper puzzles. A path too precise. When astronomers plotted Atlas's trajectory, a quiet ripple of wonder moved through the scientific community. The object was moving fast, too fast to be bound by the sun's gravity. It was merely passing through, gliding on a hyperbolic path that would eventually carry it out again into interstellar darkness. But there was something odd. Its path wasn't chaotic, as one might expect from a random comet flung into our system. Instead, its trajectory carried it remarkably close to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter, like stepping stones across the solar system. The statistical odds of such a course happening by random chance? About 0.005%. Imagine tossing a pebble into a stream and watching it skim across 3 rocks in perfect succession. You would wonder, was that just luck? Or was it aimed? The question hung there, unspoken but undeniable. Was Atlas steering? Echoes of Oumuamua. This wasn't the first time astronomers had asked such questions. A few years earlier, in 2017, the discovery of Oumuamua had sparked similar debates. Oumuamua was the first known interstellar object, a cigar-shaped mystery that tumbled through the solar system with puzzling accelerations. Some scientists even proposed, cautiously, controversially, that it might be artificial, a probe, a light sail, a fragment of alien technology. Now, with Atlas, those whispers returned. Another interstellar traveller, another strange trajectory, another reminder that our solar system is not as isolated as we once believed. And yet, Atlas differed in one important way. While Oumuamua was already leaving by the time we spotted it, Atlas gave us more time to wonder, more time to observe, more time to imagine. A cosmic visitor. Picture it. A vast silence, broken only by the slow drift of stars. Out of that endless night a shape emerges, not a blazing comet with a fiery tail, but something quieter, something that does not burn so much as it glides. To human eyes it might appear unremarkable, but to the mind willing to dream, it seems deliberate. We call it an object. We call it a comet. We call it a rock. But what if those words are veils, simplifying something that is anything but simple? What if Atlas was not just an interstellar stone, but an interstellar machine? The human reaction. Astronomers are careful. They tread cautiously when speaking of such things, bound by evidence and wary of speculation. To the public, the announcements were quiet. Another comet, another curiosity, another faint light among billions. But for those who listened closely, the undertones were unmistakable. The odds of such a path, the similarity to Oumuamua, the questions left unanswered, and among ordinary people, dreamers, philosophers, storytellers, the imagination ignited. Could this be it? Could this be the first real sign of another intelligence? Not a signal, not a transmission, but a physical presence drifting past our cosmic doorstep. The nature of technology. When we say alien technology, our minds conjure images from films and novels, gleaming starships, buzzing saucers, glowing lights. But real alien technology might look far stranger or far simpler. It might not resemble a ship at all, but a shard, a probe, a drifting monolith carrying data across the void. If Atlas was technology, it might not even be alive in the sense we understand. It could be ancient. A relic launched hundreds of millions of years ago by a civilization that may no longer even exist. It could be a fragment of a self-replicating network, one of countless probes scattered like seeds across the galaxy. To us, it looks like a comet. To them, it may have been a messenger, a scout, a machine built to endure when its creators could not. A soothing terror. There is a strange calm in imagining this. For some, the idea is frightening. The notion that something alien has passed by, silent and unknowable. Yet for others, it is profoundly soothing. It means we are not alone. It means intelligence blooms elsewhere too, and has touched even our tiny corner of the Milky Way. It means the stars are not empty after all. The beginning of our journey. So tonight, as we close our eyes and drift toward dreams, let us follow Atlas through the dark. Let us trace its path from the edges of interstellar space into the heart of our solar system. Let us ask softly, without fear, what if 3I Atlas was alien technology? This is the beginning of our voyage, and like all great voyages, it begins not with certainty but with wonder. What if the universe sends us messages not in words or signals, but in shapes? What if the very form of a passing traveller, drifting silently through the stars, holds clues to its origin, natural or artificial? Tonight, we continue our journey into the enigma of 3I Atlas, asking not just where it came from, but what it truly looks like, and whether its appearance carries the fingerprints of alien technology. First, impressions of shape to the human mind. Shape is meaning. A sphere suggests planets. A glowing tail suggests a comet. A thin, sharp edge suggests a blade. When astronomers first catalogued Atlas, they naturally assumed it to be comet-like, irregular, icy, a chunk of rock flung from the outskirts of some distant solar system. But telescopes revealed little clarity. Atlas was faint, fragmented, difficult to capture in crisp detail. What emerged instead were hints, whispers of an object not quite conforming to expectations. Its brightness fluctuated in ways that suggested elongation, perhaps a cigar-like body, or perhaps a flat sheet-like surface catching sunlight at strange angles. Its trajectory was unnervingly precise, threading gravitational wells as if guided. Its motion, while mostly natural, contained anomalies difficult to explain with standard cometry models. It was, in other words, a shape half hidden in shadow. Lessons from Oumuamua. When astronomers encountered Oumuamua, they faced similar puzzles. That earlier interstellar visitor appeared to have an odd elongated shape, unlike the rounder comets and asteroids we're used to. Some saw it as a shard, others as a pancake-like disk. Its brightness swung wildly as it tumbled, as though reflecting off flat surfaces. Most perplexing was its acceleration, a faint but undeniable push that seemed inconsistent with gravity alone. Comets accelerate when outgassing, when heat from the sun vaporizes ice, creating jets of gas that act like thrusters. But Oumuamua showed no visible outgassing, no tail, no coma. It was being pushed, but by what? Avi Loeb, a Harvard astrophysicist, proposed the most daring hypothesis. Perhaps it was a light sail, a thin artificial sheet propelled by starlight, a piece of alien technology. His idea drew both fascination and criticism, but it planted a seed. What if interstellar objects sometimes were the shapes of machines? And so, when ATLAS arrived, astronomers could not help but wonder, was its form natural or was it designed? The language of geometry technology reveals itself through geometry. Natural objects, though varied, tend toward randomness. Jagged asteroids, lumpy comets, rough spheres shaped by gravity. Artificial objects, in contrast, often bear the mark of symmetry, repetition, smoothness. Imagine looking up and seeing Atlas not as a comet, but as a vast rectangular underside. Panels, grids, glowing nodes, like a fragment of some colossal machine. Such an image chills the spine, not because it threatens, but because it feels intentional. Shapes that repeat. Patterns that suggest engineering. Surfaces too flat, too sharp, too ordered to be mere rock. If one day telescopes revealed Atlas as such a shape, humanity would face a truth long imagined but never confirmed. We are not the only builders in the cosmos. Possible constructions. What might alien technology drifting through space look like? Consider a few possibilities. A probe compact, efficient, designed to survive eons, may appear metallic, flat, or cylindrical, perhaps with panels that harvest starlight for energy. A seed ship, a vessel carrying genetic material or nanotechnology, could be shielded by thick outer layers, resembling a comet to avoid detection. Shape might conceal an interior labyrinth of compartments, a monolith or fragment, a shard of a greater structure, a broken piece of a Dyson swarm or stellar engine wandering forever. Its edges could be unnaturally precise, sharp against the cosmic void. A signal beacon, built not to travel, but to broadcast, shape optimized for resonance like a tuning fork of the stars, could emit faint electromagnetic whispers overlooked by our primitive scans. Atlas might be any of these, or none, or something so far beyond our imagination that we cannot even conceive its purpose. Why shape matters. If Atlas is natural, then its form tells us about distant planetary systems, how comets form, how they are ejected, how interstellar debris drifts across the galaxy. Already that is a marvel, to hold in our telescopes a fragment of another sun. But if Atlas is artificial, its form becomes evidence, not merely a curiosity but a signature, the cosmic equivalent of footprints in the sand. Even a single straight edge, a repeating pattern of lights, a symmetrical panel. Any of these would transform Atlas from a comet into a revelation. Proof that somewhere, long ago, minds like ours, or unlike ours, built, shaped, and launched. The shadow of camouflage. And yet, what if alien technology is not obvious? What if it is designed to look like a comet? Consider the logic. A civilization sending probes across the galaxy might cloak them in natural disguises. A comet is ignored, unthreatening, unexamined. A machine, by contrast, might draw unwanted attention. What better camouflage than ice and dust? Perhaps Atlas is exactly what it appears to be, until you look closer. Perhaps beneath a thin shell of frozen matter lies alloy, circuitry, memory banks recording the passage of stars. Perhaps its form is not accidental, but a deliberate costume. The most advanced technologies might hide not in plain sight, but in plain assumption. The scale of awe. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine standing on a quiet plain at dusk. The stars begin to emerge, and then you see it, a shape slowly gliding overhead, vast, rectangular, filling the sky, silent as a dream. Its underside glows with thousands of tiny lights, like windows on a city inverted above you. That is how some imagine ATLAS. Not a dirty snowball, but a ship so large it becomes landscape, a horizon unto itself. A machine older than our species, older than our civilization, carrying with it the weight of stars. To see such a shape would be to know instantly that we are not alone. Scientists versus dreamers. It is important to say, most astronomers lean toward natural explanations. They remind us that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Comets fragment. Trajectories can be coincidental. Odd brightness patterns may be nothing more than tumbling debris. And yet, beyond the cautious halls of academia, dreamers continue to wonder. Writers, artists, philosophers, and ordinary people who look up at the sky and feel that pull in the chest, that deep whisper, what if? For science, ATLAS is data. For imagination, it is a canvas, a cosmic coincidence. If Atlas is shaped not by alien hands but by chance, then it remains a miracle. Think of the improbability, an object born of another star, wandering for millions of years, passing within the reach of our telescopes at the exact moment our species is capable of seeing it. In that sense, even if Atlas is natural, its arrival is still technological, not its own, but ours. For only through our technology could we glimpse it. It is a meeting of two timelines, theirs, drifting through space, and ours, building machines to look outward. Perhaps the shape is not alien, but the encounter itself is, the whisper of design. And yet, when we return to the idea of technology, something resonates. Shapes suggest intention. Intentions suggest minds. And the thought that another mind has left its mark in the cosmos is irresistible. Whether rectangular, cylindrical, or cloaked in cometry disguise, ATLAS whispers of possibility. Its very ambiguity becomes a kind of message. I could be more than you think. I could be more than a rock. Look closer. Closing the chapter. As we drift further into this mystery, let us carry with us the question of shape. The cosmos may be full of wanderers, natural and artificial alike, but only by paying attention to their forms, their paths, their whispers, can we hope to tell them apart. Atlas, with its strange trajectory and uncertain geometry, invites us to listen, to look not just with eyes, but with wonder. And tonight, as we rest beneath our own sky, we wonder still, is this just another stone, or is it the shadow of a machine gliding past? Either way, it is a shape that will haunt our dreams. What if the true question at the heart of Three-Eye Atlas is not where it came from, nor even what shape it takes, but whether it belongs to nature or to intelligence? In the stillness of space, where every object drifts in silence, the line between natural and artificial can blur. Tonight, we dive into this question. Is Atlas a mere fragment of stone and ice, or is it something built? The dilemma of classification. When astronomers first detect a faint moving object, their instinct is to classify: comet, asteroid, minor planet, fragment. Each label carries with it a set of expectations. Comets outgaze when heated, forming tails. Asteroids tumble, reflect, collide. Stars burn, planets orbit, galaxies spin. But Atlas resisted easy classification. Its faint glow, its broken appearance, its unusual trajectory, all of it left scientists debating whether to call it comet, fragment, or something else entirely. The more they tried to fit it into familiar boxes, the more it slipped between their fingers. And so, unspoken but present, another possibility lingered. Perhaps it was neither asteroid nor comet, but technology. What makes something artificial? To call something artificial is to say it has been shaped by intention. A rock on the ground is natural. A rock carved into a blade is artificial. The difference lies not in the material, but in the pattern. If Atlas is artificial, we might expect geometry, straight edges, repeating structures, symmetry, purpose, motion that seems guided, energy that seems harvested, context, a trajectory or behavior unlikely by chance. But what if the builders are so advanced that their technology no longer looks like technology? What if their probes are designed to appear natural, to blend seamlessly into the very fabric of the cosmos. Then the distinction becomes not just blurred, but almost unknowable. Arguments for nature. Most scientists, bound by evidence, lean toward the natural explanation. They point to the fragmentation of ATLAS. It's breaking apart as it neared the sun. A machine, they argue, would likely not disintegrate so easily. They note its faint activity, its dust cloud, its resemblance, however imperfect, to known comets. They point out that space is vast and full of debris. It is not surprising that some of it occasionally wanders through. And perhaps most importantly, they argue against leaping too quickly to extraordinary claims. The history of astronomy is filled with mysteries later explained by mundane physics. Pulsars were once nicknamed LGM, Little Green Men, because of their precise radio pulses. But soon they were understood as rotating neutron stars. If every anomaly is branded alien, we risk fooling ourselves. Arguments for artificiality. And yet, for every argument of nature, there is a counterpoint. Trajectory. Precision. Atlas passed remarkably close to major planets, as if navigating a route. The odds of this by chance are tiny. Fragmentation. If designed to shed layers, breaking apart might be intentional, like a seed pod releasing its contents. Camouflage. Advanced technology could disguise itself as fragile rock, precisely to avoid detection. Precedent. Oumuamua, before it showed unexplained acceleration, lack of outgassing, and strange shape. Two mysteries in such short succession suggest a pattern, and behind it all lies the most haunting fact. The universe is unimaginably old. Civilizations could have risen and fallen countless times before us. The idea that none ever sent probes is perhaps less likely than the idea that some did. The thought experiment. Imagine two scenarios. Atlas is natural. A fragment from a distant solar system, shaped by collisions, ejected by gravity, wandering for millions of years. It drifts into our solar system, breaks apart under the sun and leaves. Its story is still wondrous, a piece of another star system touching ours. Atlas is artificial, a machine, disguised as stone, launched by an alien civilization perhaps long extinct. Its trajectory is guided, its form purposeful, its disintegration intentional. It passes by silently, perhaps recording, perhaps seeding, perhaps waiting. In both scenarios, awe remains. But in the second, awe deepens into existential shock. Middle path. The artifact hypothesis. There is another possibility rarely considered, that Atlas is both natural and artificial. Consider a comet captured by an alien civilization and modified, hollowed out, equipped with sensors, turned into a probe. Or consider a machine designed to mimic natural bodies, built from stone and ice, powered from within. Such hybrid possibilities blur the boundary. Artificial does not need to mean metallic. Natural does not need to mean untouched. A comet can be a chassis. A rock can be a vessel. Perhaps Atlas is not one or the other, but a fusion of both. Technology beyond recognition. Arthur C. Clarke once wrote, "Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. But perhaps it is also indistinguishable from nature. What if alien machines are not gleaming ships, but stones that drift and grow? What if they evolve like coral, seeded by programming but shaped by environment? What if the builders learned long ago that the best way to survive the cosmos is to imitate it? In that case, ATLAS could be ancient technology so advanced it wears the mask of a comet. We would look at it and see only rock, never realizing it was alive with purpose. The philosophy of recognition. This leads to a humbling thought. Perhaps we are not ready to tell the difference. Our telescopes, though powerful, remain primitive compared to what might exist elsewhere. Our theories, though clever, are bound by human imagination. We may look at Atlas and argue endlessly over whether it is comet or craft, when in truth it is both or neither. Perhaps the very question, artificial or natural, reveals our limitations. We divide the cosmos into categories, while the cosmos itself is under no obligation to fit them. Why the question matters. Still, the question matters because it touches the core of our longing. If Atlas is natural, it is a scientific wonder. If artificial, it is a cosmic revelation. The difference reshapes our place in the universe. To say it is natural is to say we are still waiting for contact. To say it is artificial is to say contact has already happened, only silently, without us even noticing. And perhaps that silence is the truest message of all. Closing the chapter. As we end this chapter of thought, let us hold the paradox gently. Atlas may be rock, or machine, or both. We may never know. But in wondering, in asking the question, we take part in the oldest act of intelligence, curiosity. And so, beneath the quiet stars, we whisper again, artificial or natural? The universe smiles in silence. What if 3i Atlas is not simply a traveller passing through, but a messenger, a courier of meaning, carrying signals not with antennas or radio pulses, but through its very movement? Could its silent trajectory across our skies be a form of language, waiting for us to learn how to listen? The language of the cosmos. Throughout history, humans have sought meaning in the heavens. Ancient civilizations charted the stars, reading omens in their alignments. The path of comets was once thought to herald change, disaster, or divine intervention. Even now, we look at the sky and search for patterns, constellations, alignments, rhythms. So when Atlas drifts through on its improbable route, nearly touching the orbits of Venus, Mars, and Jupiter, it is natural to wonder, could its path be intentional? Could motion itself be a kind of message? After all, motion is universal. Stars orbit galaxies, planets orbit stars, moons dance around planets. Any civilization advanced enough to send probes would understand orbital dynamics. To carve a trajectory across multiple worlds is like underlining a sentence in bold cosmic ink. Trajectory as syntax. Let us imagine a language not of words but of orbits. Each gravitational encounter is a syllable. Each planet skimmed is a pause or punctuation. The entire path of ATLAS could be read as a sentence written across the solar system. Passing near Venus could mean, we know your twin planet exists. Brushing past Mars could mean, we see your aspirations. Aligning with Jupiter could mean, we respect your giant protector. To us, these are guesses. To a civilization fluent in orbital language, such trajectories might be as clear as a message written in stone. Echoes of Oumuamua. It is worth recalling that 3 Atlas was not our first interstellar visitor. Oumuamua arrived first, slipping silently through in 2017. Its elongated shape, its unexplained acceleration, its lack of outgassing, all baffled astronomers. Some, like Avi Loeb, openly suggested it could be artificial. And now, just a few years later, ATS. 2 strange visitors in such rapid succession. Could they be related? Could they be part of a sequence? A series of probes, each leaving a mark? If so, then perhaps the message is not in one object, but in the rhythm of many. Like words in a poem, each comet-like traveller could be part of a larger verse. Natural motion or scripted dance. Skeptics argue trajectories are determined by physics, not intention. A rock ejected from a distant star system follows gravity's pull, nothing more. And yet, even in randomness, intention can hide. A civilization that has mastered stellar engineering could guide fragments subtly, sending them along paths that mimic natural debris. To us, it would look like chance. To them, it would be choreography. Think of seeds blown by the wind. To the unknowing eye, they scatter randomly, but to the plant, each seed carries genetic meaning cast in all directions with hope. Could ATLAS be a seed? Could its random path actually be a carefully tuned spread of possibility? The silence between the lines. If Atlas is a messenger, why does it not transmit? Where are the radio signals, the flashing lights, the obvious beacons? Perhaps the message is silence itself. Consider, a civilization might know that broadcasting into the cosmos is risky. Any signal reveals location, vulnerability. Safer, perhaps, to send a mute traveller whose message lies not in noise, but in presence. The very act of entering our solar system may be the communication. You are not alone. We have been here. Human parallels. We too have sent silent messengers. The Voyager probes, launched in the 1970s, carry golden records inscribed with sounds of Earth. Yet to find them, an alien would need to stumble across the craft in the dark of space. The odds are small, yet the gesture itself is the point. Perhaps Atlas is someone else's Voyager, not meant to be intercepted, not meant to be understood quickly, but simply meant to endure, to drift, to carry a possibility of contact across eternity. And perhaps, just as our Voyagers bear greetings, their Atlas carries meaning we cannot yet decode. Cosmic semiotics. Semiotics is the study of signs and symbols. On Earth, it helps us interpret languages, gestures, and art. But what of cosmic semiotics, the reading of meaning in motion, light, and pattern? Imagine alien engineers thinking, if we pass close to 3 planets, intelligent beings will notice. They will calculate the odds, they will feel the improbability, and in that wonder, they will sense us. The message may not be linguistic at all. It may be emotional. Wonder itself may be the intended transmission. Messages beyond humans. What if the message is not even for us? The solar system has many worlds. Mars is barren but once wet. Europa, Titan, and Enceladus harbour seas beneath ice. Could the path of ATLAS have been chosen to pass near them, not for our telescopes but for their hidden oceans? What if the message was never to humanity, but to life wherever it hides? The oceans beneath the ice may carry chemical traces stirred faintly by passing cosmic visitors. The encounter may be more chemical than communicative, a seeding, a whisper, a push. A long-delayed reply. Another haunting possibility. What if ATLAS is not the first messenger, but the reply to one? Perhaps billions of years ago, another civilization scattered fragments into space, just as we scatter radio waves now. Perhaps Atlas is their return message, arriving after eons, so late that the original senders are gone. In this view, communication across interstellar distances is not dialogue, but archaeology. Each message arrives long after the speaker is silent, long after the listener has moved on. Yet the conversation still exists, written in stone across the galaxy. Decoding the silence. If we wish to take seriously the idea that ATLAS carries meaning, how might we decode it? Trajectory. Analysis. Study its orbital path for patterns or alignments beyond chance. Spectral analysis. Examine its light for unusual materials or emissions. Fragmentation study. Interpret its breaking apart not as failure, but as delivery. Comparative analysis. Compare with Oumuamua and other interstellar objects. Each method is like a deciphering tool, peeling back layers of possibility, and yet each carries the danger of over-interpretation, of seeing meaning where none was intended, the comfort of wonder. Perhaps the truest message is not factual but emotional. Atlas makes us wonder. It makes us look up at the sky, debate late into the night, imagine civilizations beyond our own. That, in itself, is communication. A message need not be a sentence to change us. Sometimes it is enough to be reminded that the universe is vast, mysterious, and alive with possibilities. And so, as we close this exploration, let us listen not with radios, but with imagination. Let us treat Atlas not as noise, but as poetry. Perhaps its message is not yet clear. Perhaps it will never be. But in asking the question, in leaning close to the silence, we learn more about ourselves than about the object. The message may be this: you are listeners now. The cosmos has always spoken in motion. Perhaps Atlas is one more verse in its eternal song. What if 3i Atlas was never meant to be seen as a comet at all, but as a disguised machine? A fragment not of random cosmic debris, but of deliberate construction. An ancient probe, an alien artifact cloaked in stone and ice. Tonight, we step beyond astronomy into engineering, and we ask, could ATLAS be technology? The spark of suspicion. From the beginning, ATLAS carried the scent of strangeness. Its approach was faint, its visibility brief, and its structure fragile. Some called it a failed comet, a broken wanderer. But others paused and asked, what if failure was the disguise? Technology, after all, often hides in plain sight. Our satellites are designed to look unremarkable from a distance. Dull metallic dots in the night sky. Our rovers, when seen from orbit, resemble scattered rocks. Stealth is often the key to endurance. So too might ATLAS be more than it seems. Not a comet, but a probe cloaked in the language of nature. Mimicry in nature and technology. On Earth, mimicry is everywhere. Insects disguise themselves as leaves. Fish resemble sand. Predators wear the colours of the harmless. Survival is often about deception. If evolution teaches camouflage, why not intelligence? An alien civilization might realise that the safest way to send probes through hostile galaxies is to cloak them as natural objects. Rocks and comets are everywhere, unnoticed, unthreatening. Hide technology inside a rock, and it can travel for eons without suspicion. Perhaps Atlas is the ultimate mimic, a machine in comet's clothing. Engineering the impossible. If ATLAS is technology, what might it contain? Energy systems, hidden power sources, perhaps drawing energy from solar radiation, cosmic rays, or even quantum fluctuations. Sensors, instruments tucked beneath layers of ice, measuring planets, atmospheres, magnetic fields, even biology. Memory, vast storage systems, not of metal disks but crystalline lattices or atomic structures, capable of surviving millions of years. Propulsion, subtle thrusters, hidden beneath fragments, giving small nudges invisible to human instruments. Our imagination is limited by our own engineering, but a civilization millions of years older might weave machines from matter itself, probes that look like dust until they awaken. Fragmentation, failure or function. Skeptics argue that ATLAS cannot be artificial because it fell apart. A probe, they say, would be built to last. But what if fragmentation was intentional? Imagine a seed pod bursting to release spores. Imagine a delivery system designed to scatter parts across multiple worlds. Breaking apart might not be failure, but purpose. Each fragment could be a capsule, a payload, a message. Some could fall into atmospheres, some into oceans, some simply drift. In this view, the death of ATLAS was its moment of function. Not an ending, but a beginning. Seeding technology across space. The technology hypothesis opens into the seeding hypothesis, the idea that alien civilizations scatter probes across galaxies like dandelion seeds. Each probe is simple, redundant, and numerous. Most are lost, a few endure. Perhaps ATLAS is one such seed. Perhaps thousands passed unnoticed before. Perhaps thousands more will come. If so, then the strangeness is not that Atlas appeared, but that we finally looked closely enough to notice. The shadow of Oumuamua. No discussion of alien technology can avoid Oumuamua. Its elongated shape, its unexplained acceleration, its silence, all have fueled debate. Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb proposed it could be a light sail pushed by starlight. Others disagreed, but the question lingers. Now with Atlas following close behind, the coincidence grows sharper. Two interstellar oddities in such short time, both resisting easy classification. Could they be scouts of the same design? Could Oumuamua and ATLAS be siblings in a fleet of disguised probes? If so, then Earth may not be encountering random rocks, but the edges of an ancient network. Lessons from human probes. Looking at our own technology gives clues. Voyager carries a golden record, but it is tiny and vulnerable. New Horizons travels beyond Pluto, now drifting silently. Rosetta landed on a comet, hiding among its dust. From a distance, each of these could look like a rock. If another civilization detected Voyager millions of years from now, would they know it was technology, or would they call it debris? Perhaps Atlas is their Voyager, and we, squinting through telescopes, cannot yet tell. Camouflage by design. There are reasons to build probes that look like comets. Survivability. Rock and ice protect against radiation. Camouflage. Blending with debris prevents detection by hostile civilizations. Longevity. Natural-looking probes are ignored, allowing them to persist. Simplicity. If probes are meant to self-replicate, cometary material is abundant and easy to harvest. In this design logic, the best machine is the one mistaken for stone, technology without wires. When we think of machines, we imagine wires, circuits, metal frames, but alien technology may look very different. Consider biotechnology, machines built from living cells. Consider nanotechnology, machines invisible to the naked eye. Consider quantum engineering, devices encoded in atomic structure. To us, ATLAS looks like fractured rock. But what if its rocks are data modules, its dust a form of transmission, its ice a reactor? We may be looking directly at technology too alien to recognize. The silence of machines. If a TLAS is technology, why is it silent? Why no radio beacons, no lights, no obvious signs? Perhaps because silence is the strategy. A probe built to last millions of years must conserve energy. It cannot shout into space forever. Instead, it must wait. Listen. Observe. Maybe Atlas recorded us. Maybe it is already transmitting silently in frequencies we do not yet monitor. Or maybe it is not meant to contact us at all, but simply to drift, carrying its data back to no one, because its makers are long gone. The Fermi connection. This ties into the famous Fermi paradox. If civilizations exist, where are they? Why no signals, no visitors? Perhaps the answer is, they are here, but we mistake them for rocks. Their probes drift through our system disguised as comets. Their technology is around us, but we do not yet see it. Maybe the sky is not empty, but filled with machines hidden in plain sight. Implications for humanity. If a TLAS is technology, what does it mean for us? We are not alone. Others existed before us, advanced enough to build and launch interstellar machines. We are latecomers. Civilization has bloomed and withered elsewhere long before ours. We are being studied. Our planets, atmospheres, even our biology may already be catalogued. We are vulnerable. If probes exist, we are visible. Our solitude is over. Yet, perhaps most profoundly, we are connected. Through ATLAS, we glimpse a larger story. We are not the first, not the only, not the inevitable. We are part of a cosmic continuum of intelligence. A thought experiment. Imagine, just for a moment, that a TLAS is confirmed as artificial. Imagine the press conferences, the headlines, the global shock. For the first time, humanity would know alien technology exists. Would we feel fear? Would religions tremble? Would nations unite or divide? Or would we simply feel wonder, a new humility before the cosmos? Would we look at the night sky not as emptiness, but as a library of artifacts waiting to be found? Atlas may be stone, it may be machine, it may be both. But in wondering whether it is technology, we open ourselves to possibility. We begin to see the universe not as a stage set for us, but as a living field where others have walked. Perhaps Atlas is not just a comet. Perhaps it is a whisper of engineering written across the stars, and perhaps in time we will learn to listen. What if 3i Atlas was not merely a probe, not merely a messenger, but a seed? What if it is part of a grander strategy, a project of cosmic gardening, where civilizations scatter fragments not to communicate, but to cultivate? In this chapter, we step into the possibility that ATLAA is not just alien technology, but alien agriculture. Seeds in the void, life on Earth began with seeds, not the green kernels of plants, but molecular seeds, strands of RNA, chains of amino acids, droplets of lipid membranes. From these humble beginnings, complexity bloomed. But where did those first seeds come from? Did they emerge spontaneously in Earth's oceans? Or did they drift here from afar, carried on comets and asteroids? The theory of panspermia suggests that life can spread across the cosmos, hitchhiking on fragments of rock and ice. When these fragments strike planets, they deliver organic ingredients. Perhaps Atlas is one such fragment, but not natural. Perhaps it was deliberately launched, a seed, chosen, a gardener, unseen. The gardener's vision. Imagine a civilization older than Earth itself. Imagine it watching worlds form, evolve, and collapse. For such a civilization, time is not measured in centuries, but in millions of years. Would they not be tempted to sow, to scatter life like a farmer scattering grain across fields, to send out billions of probes, some natural, some engineered, carrying DNA, RNA, or even instructions encoded in crystal, to plant possibilities in every fertile corner of the galaxy? Perhaps Earth itself was seeded this way. Perhaps Atlas is part of the same ongoing harvest. Technology as biology. The distinction between machine and organism may not hold in such a vision. For the cosmic gardeners, technology may be alive, and life may be engineered. Probes as spores, simple, durable, designed to drift. Comets as capsules, ice-preserving molecules shielding them from radiation. Fragmentation as germination, breaking apart to spread contents. Atlas. Breaking apart might not be failure but release. Its dust might not be inert but fertile. Its mission might not be observation but seeding. Messages in molecules. If Atlas is a gardener's tool, then its message is not in radio waves but in molecules. What if its dust carries amino acids? What if its fragments hold dormant codes? What if its very structure is a biochemical script, waiting for contact with oceans, atmospheres, warmth? We may never know, because ATLAS did not strike Earth. But its passage reminds us, the cosmos may be alive with seeds. The earthly parallel, we ourselves have begun to play the role of gardeners. We scatter satellites like pollen around Earth. We have proposed sending DNA capsules to other stars. We dream of terraforming Mars, planting Earth life on alien soil. We're apprentices, mimicking what older civilizations may have already done. Just as farmers learned to scatter seeds long before they understood genetics, so too might civilization scatter life before they even understand its depths. The silence of the garden. Why is the galaxy not buzzing with voices? Why no obvious cities, no signals? Perhaps because the gardeners do not seek dialogue. Their project is not communication, but cultivation. To them, the goal is not to talk, but to plant. Civilizations are not partners, but outcomes. Life is their art, not conversation. In this view, Earth itself is a garden bed. Humanity is a late blossom, one of many. Atlas is another seed drifting past, unnoticed, but part of the same unseen field. Cosmic patience. Gardening requires patience. Seeds sprout slowly. Seasons pass. A farmer plants not for today, but for tomorrow. What if cosmic gardeners think in the same way? To them, 1,000,000 years is just spring. 1,000,000,000 years is a single season. Atlas may have been launched eons ago, long before Earth bore life, long before humans looked up. Its makers may already be gone, but the garden persists. The seeds drift still, the garden beyond Earth. If Earth was seeded, what of other worlds? Mars once had water. Did gardeners try there first? Europa hides an ocean beneath ice. Could fragments drift into its seas? Titan carries methane lakes. Might life there be of an entirely different kind, seeded by a different kind of gardener? Perhaps the solar system itself is a garden plot, each world a different experiment. Perhaps Atlas was meant to check on progress, delivering nutrients or genetic codes along the way, ethics of the garden. If true, then humanity faces a haunting question. Do we have the right to be gardeners too? When we speak of terraforming Mars, are we colonizers or caretakers? When we dream of spreading Earth life to other stars, are we continuing a cosmic tradition or interfering in another's plan? If Atlas is alien technology, then we are not alone in our ambitions. The garden is already being tended. The question is, do we join, compete, or resist? A living universe. The technology hypothesis and the gardening hypothesis converge in one vision. A living universe, seeded by intelligence, filled with silent experiments. Comets are not just rocks, they are capsules. Probes are not just machines, they are spores. Civilizations are not just anomalies, they are blossoms. Atlas then is not a comet, not a probe, but a seed. One more whisper of life drifting through the galaxy. Human response. If humanity one day confirms such a reality, what then? Would we feel comfort knowing we are not accidental but planted? Would we feel diminished knowing we are not unique but cultivated? Would we feel inspired knowing we are part of a cosmic garden, blooming alongside countless others? Perhaps all three. Perhaps the gardeners intended it so. Closing the chapter. As we close this chapter, let us imagine Atlas not as stone, not as machine, but as seed. It drifts in silence, breaks apart, scatters dust. Perhaps that dust carries nothing, or perhaps it carries everything. And as we imagine, let us wonder, if we are blossoms of the garden, will we too become gardeners one day? Will we scatter our own seeds across the stars, continuing the cycle? The universe may already be alive with gardens. Atlas may be one of its gardener's tools, and we, for the first time, are noticing the soil beneath our feet. If 3i Atlas was alien technology, then it carries with it not only the question of who made it, but also the haunting possibility that its makers are no longer alive. What if Atlas is not a probe of the living, but a relic of the dead? A wandering artifact, a shadow of civilizations that once were. The silent drift of relics. Every civilization leaves behind debris. On Earth we leave satellites in orbit, ruins in deserts, fragments of pottery in the soil. In space, our probes, Voyager, Pioneer, New Horizons, already drift as relics of humanity's age of exploration. What if a TLAS is one such relic? Not a mission in progress, but a mission long ended. Not a message, but an echo. Not a seed of life, but a tombstone. It drifts not with purpose, but with inertia. Its maker's gone, it remains, silent yet present, carrying within its fractured ice the memory of a lost people. The archaeology of the cosmos. On Earth, archaeologists search for traces of ancient civilizations. They dig through layers of time, uncovering tools, bones, inscriptions. Each discovery tells us not only what was, but what was lost. But what is cosmic archaeology? To practice it, one must read the stars, the dust, the comets. Every fragment that passes through the solar system could be a shard of someone's history. Every mysterious visitor could be an artifact. Atlas, then, might be an object in a galactic museum, though we do not yet know how to read its labels. civilizations that burn too bright. Why would such a relic exist? Because civilizations are fragile. They might rise and collapse through war, a self-destruction where weapons outpace wisdom, entropy, a slow decline, resources exhausted, energy spent, disaster, a cosmic strike, a supernova, a black hole's hunger, transcendence, a migration beyond material forms, leaving behind machines like husks. Each ending leaves traces. Some are ruins, some are probes, some are comets like Atlas, still wandering, long after their makers have faded into silence. Technology as tombstone. If a TLAS is alien technology, then its purpose may have shifted with time. Originally, a probe, a messenger, a seed. Now, a drifting tombstone outliving its makers, it is like a satellite orbiting a dead world, a lonely device still functioning, still transmitting, unaware that no one listens anymore. The irony of such artifacts is profound. Technology may outlive its creators, but stripped of context, it becomes ghostly, unreadable. Atlas may hold data, signals, structures, but without the living civilization to interpret it, it becomes only mystery. The library in the sky imagine Atlas as a library, a frozen vault of knowledge encoded in crystal, ice, or nanotech. Its makers might have poured into it histories of their world, maps of their stars, songs of their people, instructions for future beings. But now the library drifts without librarians. The books remain, but the language is lost. To us, it appears as dust, as fragments, as ice. Perhaps one day humanity may learn to read such relics. For now we see only shapes against the horizon. The cosmic graveyard. If a TLAS is a relic, then it may not be alone. The galaxy could be littered with grave markers, burnt out Dyson spheres, silent probes drifting between stars, shards of alien cities frozen in vacuum. We do not yet have the eyes to see them, but they may surround us. What we call comets may sometimes be relics. What we call asteroids may sometimes be ruins. The universe itself could be a graveyard, and ITLAS is one of its tombstones. Humanity as future relic. There is a mirror in this vision. One day, humanity too will be gone. Earth will change, the sun will swell, our cities will crumble, but our machines may endure. Voyager will still drift, bearing its golden record. Satellites may orbit for millions of years. Spacecraft may wander interstellar space, long after Earth is dust. We ourselves may become a shadow civilization, remembered only through relics like Atlas. And if others one day discover our probes, will they ask the same question? Who are these beings? What happened to them? Why are they gone? The haunting of silence. The Fermi paradox, the question of why we see no aliens, grows heavier under this light. Perhaps the silence exists because most civilizations end, leaving behind only fragments. Perhaps the galaxy is full not of voices but of whispers, not of neighbors but of tombs. The haunting truth. Maybe we're surrounded by relics, and Atlas is simply the first one we've noticed, the ghost in the comet. When we look at a TLAS, what do we see? A comet, bright and fragile, a visitor, here and gone, a fragment breaking apart as if aging, dying, decaying. But what if what we truly see is a ghost, a civilization's last breath, carried across stars? Not a living probe, not a seed, but a funeral procession drifting silently through the void. In this vision, ATLAS is beautiful, not because it is alive, but because it is memory, the lessons of relics. What should humanity learn from such a possibility? Fragility. That civilizations, no matter how advanced, can end. Endurance. That their traces may outlast them. Responsibility. That we too are crafting our relics. What we send into the cosmos today will one day be the shadows by which others remember us. If Atlas is a relic, then it is not just a warning. It is an invitation to endure, to learn, to build not only machines, but meaning. Closing the chapter. As Atlas drifts away, it may be carrying not messages for us, but echoes of the dead. It may not be a probe of the living, but a relic of the lost. In its silence, we glimpse both our past and our future, the inevitability of endings, the persistence of memory, the beauty of shadows. For civilizations burn bright, then fade, but their relics remain, drifting as whispers through the dark. Atlas may be one such whisper, and we, briefly, have heard it. Imagine if we could reach Three-Eye Atlas, not with our eyes, not with our telescopes, but with our hands, our machines, our science. What would happen if humanity could touch alien technology? What mysteries would unravel, and what dangers would awaken? The dream of contact. For centuries, humans have dreamed of touching the stars. We build rockets to escape Earth's gravity. We launch telescopes to see the distant galaxies. We design probes to sail the outer planets. But always the dream goes further. What if we could touch something not of our world? 3. Atlas, as alien technology, tempts this dream. To reach it would be to step into a new chapter of human history. The chapter where we move from asking if we're alone to knowing we are not. The first mission proposal. If scientists accepted even the possibility that Atlas was technology, the mission plans would begin immediately. Imagine the blueprints drawn in secret rooms, the calculations on glowing screens, a fast interceptor probe using nuclear propulsion or solar sails racing to match Atlas's trajectory, a swarm of micro-drones released like bees around the object, photographing every angle, a sample return system designed to snatch a fragment of alien alloy or crystal and bring it back to Earth. Such a mission would not be about exploration alone. It would be archaeology, diplomacy, and survival strategy all in one. Approaching the unknown. What would ATLAS look like up close? From a distance, it seems comet-like, dusty, icy, fragmenting. But at close range, strange details might emerge. Surfaces too smooth, as if manufactured. Geometries too precise. Angles carved like architecture. Radiation signatures inconsistent with nature. The closer we get, the less it looks like a comet, and the more it looks like a machine. The touch of alien metal. Imagine a robotic arm extending toward a TLAS. Its gripper brushes against the surface. The metal is cold, but not like rock. Its texture is glassy, strange, resistant. The composition, once analysed, reveals alloys unknown to human science. Embedded patterns appear, circuits, etchings, inscriptions. The first contact between humanity and alien technology would not be through language, but through matter, through the alien periodic table carved into its bones, the Pandora's box. But touching is never without risk. Atlas could be dormant but reactive, a probe that awakens when disturbed, infected with nanotechnology, machines smaller than dust, eager to replicate, programmed with defense systems, mistaking us for a threat, carrying alien microbes, dormant, waiting, ready to spread. The act of touching could unleash dangers far beyond our control, yet curiosity drives us forward. The messages hidden. Within, suppose the probe finds not danger but design. Within Atlas, signals may sleep, patterns in radio waves waiting to be decoded, optical pulses embedded in its reflective surfaces, quantum states encoding vast libraries of alien knowledge. If we could unlock them, humanity might inherit the wisdom of another world. But unlocking requires understanding, and understanding may take centuries, the debate on Earth. Before the mission is even launched, humanity would fracture into debate. Scientists, eager to touch, to study, to learn. Governments, cautious, weighing risks of contamination or war. Religious groups, seeing the object as divine or demonic. Philosophers, asking if some doors should remain closed. Atlas would divide us before we even reached it, and when we touched it, that division could deepen or heal. The first fragment returned. Imagine a capsule descends through Earth's atmosphere, parachutes blooming, scientists racing to recover it. Inside, a fragment of ATLAS. Small, dark, alien. Under microscopes, it reveals wonders, atomic arrangements impossible to replicate with human industry. Nanostructures so intricate they resemble both machines and biology. Data encoded in the lattice of matter itself, like memory in crystal. The first touch of alien technology would not be an end. It would be the beginning of lifetimes of study. The risks of knowing. But with knowledge comes danger. A fragment might be weaponized, turned into tools of war. Rival nations might fight for control of the technology. The object might contain instructions for things humanity is not ready to build. Touching Atlas could accelerate us into greatness, or collapse. The cosmic ethics here lies the greater question. Do we have the right to touch it? Perhaps Atlas is not for us. Perhaps it was meant for another species, another time. By touching it, we could be trespassing in the museum of the galaxy. By claiming it, we might be stealing from the dead. Touching alien technology is not just science. It is ethics, responsibility, humility, the human heart. Beneath all the science, all the fear, lies something simpler. To touch ATLAS would be to prove we are not alone. To lay hands on alien technology would be to collapse millennia of doubt into certainty. The human heart, yearning for connection, would finally find proof. And in that moment, touching the alien would not feel like science. It would feel like communion. Closing the chapter. If ATLAS is alien technology, then to touch it would be the most profound event in human history. But every touch carries risk. Some doors, once opened, cannot be closed. Would we dare? Would we risk awakening the unknown? Would we reach out, not knowing what waits in the dark? Perhaps yes, perhaps no. But in imagining this possibility, we prepare ourselves for one day we will face such a choice. And when we do, the universe itself will watch. What happens to humanity when the idea of alien technology is no longer science fiction, but a real visitor in our skies? What becomes of us after Three-Eye Atlas, when the shadows of possibility reshape our imagination, our science, and our destiny? The shockwave of revelation. When Atlas first appeared, it was just another comet. But if it is alien technology, even the mere suggestion sends shockwaves through every layer of human society. Astronomers find their field rewritten overnight. No longer is their work only about mapping stars, but about interpreting intentions. Governments wake to new fears, defense against unknown technology, diplomacy with unseen civilizations. Philosophers grapple with what it means to be human when we are no longer the only intelligence. Children grow up knowing the universe is alive with possibility, their dreams reaching beyond Earth. It is not just science that changes, it is everything. A mirror in the sky Atlas becomes a mirror for us. To the fearful, it reflects invasion, doom, apocalypse. To the hopeful, it reflects kinship, discovery, destiny. To the dreamers, it reflects adventure. To the skeptics, it reflects caution. Humanity sees itself in ATLAS, every hope and fear projected onto its silent form. The comet machine drifting by is not just alien, it is us, magnified. The acceleration of science contact, even without communication, accelerates our science. Material science races to replicate its structure. Astrophysics evolves into xenotechnology. Robotics and AI are reimagined under the question, what if ATLAS is conscious? Energy research pivots toward harnessing forces strong enough to move between stars. The presence of ATLAS is like fire to dry wood. Suddenly humanity burns with curiosity. The space age, once fragile, becomes inevitable, the division of nations. But with progress comes division. Some nations argue for secrecy, hoarding discoveries, fearing enemies. Others argue for openness, believing alien contact belongs to all humankind. Tensions rise, treaties falter. Some leaders whisper about weapons, about reverse engineering alien tech for dominance. Others preach restraint. Humanity's unity is tested by the silent visitor, and how we respond may define our survival. The renaissance of wonder. Yet amidst fear, wonder blooms. Artists paint visions of a TLAS against cosmic skies. Musicians compose symphonies inspired by its silent passage. Writers craft stories of alien civilizations, both beautiful and tragic. Children stare upward at night, asking questions their parents cannot answer. Atlas does not just stir science, it awakens imagination. Humanity rediscovers its place in a vast, living cosmos, the new religions. For some, ATLAS becomes divine. New faiths rise, declaring it a messenger, an angel of the stars. Ancient faiths reinterpret scriptures, weaving a TLAS into prophecy. Some see it as judgment, others salvation. Whether machine or comet, ATLAS becomes myth, for humanity has always sought the sacred in the unknown. Preparing for the next visitor, Atlas will not be the last. If the universe sends one, it may send more. Scientists prepare new telescopes, new interceptors, new strategies. The next time, we may not just watch, we may meet, we may follow. Humanity becomes a civilization on alert, standing at the edge of contact, waiting for the stars to speak again. A civilization transformed. What does humanity look like after ATLAS? More curious, for we have glimpsed possibility. More cautious, for we have felt danger. More humble, for we know we are not alone. More ambitious, for the stars no longer feel like fiction but destiny. Atlas does not give us answers, it gives us questions, but in questions lies growth. The last gift of Atlas. As Atlas fades into the dark, its true gift is not technology, not proof, not knowledge. Its gift is perspective. The sight of an alien object drifting silently across our skies reminds us that we are part of something larger, that Earth is small, fragile, temporary, but precious. It teaches us that civilizations may rise and fall, but their echoes endure. It shows us that silence is not emptiness, but mystery. It whispers that we too will one day leave relics for others to find, closing the journey. And so we return to the question, what if 3i Atlas was alien technology? Then humanity's story has already changed. Not because we touched it, not because we solved it, but because we imagined it. For in imagining we grow, in wondering we expand, in dreaming we prepare. Atlas drifts on, silent, mysterious, vanishing into the cosmic sea. But its shadow remains with us. It is not just a visitor, it is a teacher. Not just a question, but an answer. Not just alien, but human. Because what we see in it is our own longing for the infinite. Final reflection. Perhaps ATLAS is nothing more than ice and dust. Perhaps it is everything more. Technology, message, relic, ghost. We cannot yet know. But the act of asking changes us. The act of wondering transforms us. And maybe that is the true purpose of visitors like Atlas. Not to reveal their secrets, but to awaken ours. So tonight, as you close your eyes and drift towards sleep, let ATLAS drift with you. Imagine its silent journey across the stars. Imagine the civilizations that may have touched it. Imagine the futures it points us toward. For in dreams, as in the cosmos, everything is possible. And perhaps, just perhaps, somewhere out there, another dreamer looks toward us, wondering the same.